Delighted to have our next session. It's the foundations of developing a future destinations with sustainability at the core of investment. So if I could invite Nicolas Mayer, industry leader for hospitality and tourism, EMEA for PwC. Nicolas, lovely to see you. Again. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
And then Andrew McEvoy, if you can come and join as well. Andrew is head of tourism sector for NEOM. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan.
A very warm good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to be with you and to have had the opportunity to finally shake hands again. It's quite relieving and it's wonderful. And I think I want to dive right away into introducing you to Andrew McEvoy. You're the head of tourism at NEOM. You've been an iconic CEO of an iconic destination long before you came into the region. You've managed travel companies, media companies, you sat on large boards. You could have gone anywhere and done pretty much anything in your industry, and yet in the middle of COVID, you traveled literally halfway around the world, if not more, to develop NEOM in the area of tourism. So I'm curious to hear from you, with all the options that you had and the choice that you made, could you explain to us what is NEOM, what is NEOM tourism, and what attracted you to that challenge?
First of all, look, how refreshing is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? I just think what we've seen this morning from Mahmoud, Jerry Inzarello, just hearing Amr and Oliver and Mark talk about these developments, I feel like as a travel industry, we've probably stunted the imagination of the world around travel. We've commoditized it. But you just listen to what's being done in the kingdom, and I think it's going to be a great blessing for the world because people are thinking differently and almost starting from scratch. So I think that was, for me, a big motivation. And NEOM is literally a country within a country. It's much more than tourism. It's 26,500 square kilometres of land in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. So we share a border with Jordan above us. And when I look out over the Aqaba Gulf, I can see the sunset over Egypt. High mountains, 2,500 metres plus. We get snow in the winter. Colourful deserts, red, yellow, the white of gypsum. 450 kilometres of Red Sea coastline. 41 islands, 12 of which are developable. Incredible rich reefs that are unspoilt, great sea life. So just think about that. The country I come from, Australia, it's pretty much Australia in one place. So you don't often get a chance to build a country from scratch, but that's what it feels like. And you saw some of the energy just there on the stage. It's phenomenal. So that's why I've come, and that's a little bit about the physical nature of NEOM.
And I mean, we've had the pleasure to spend a lot of time during lockdown in NEOM, and it's really phenomenal to go visit now. I would encourage you all to try to go visit it now to see before, so you can then revisit and see the after. But what I've learned is that in addition to the physical possibilities that are there, there is a very aspirational, let's say, esprit de corps, a very aspirational common ambition set by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince as chairman of what NEOM is supposed to be. So would you talk a little bit about the aspirations of NEOM beyond the infrastructural element?
I think slightly different to the other giga projects. First of all, Vision 2030 is an incredible catalyst and it'll lead to transformation. Everyone's garnered behind it. NEOM, perhaps Amala, Red Sea, Alula are very much destinations, tourism destinations. NEOM will be more than that. As I said, the Crown Prince, His Royal Highness, announced last January the development of a city, the Line, 170 kilometre long line stretching from the Aqaba Gulf, the Red Sea, and up into the desert, through mountains and to the plains. That city will be the second or third largest city in Saudi Arabia over the next decade or so. So it's not just tourism. We've got a big focus on energy, on water, on the future of health, biotech, the future of manufacturing, the future of so many sectors, sport, wellness. So we will be a city where digital nomads, the millennials and Gen Zs of today and tomorrow want to come and live and work because we're a future city. NEOM is literally neo, new, and M, the first letter of the word mustaqbal, meaning the Arabic word for future, new future. So apart from a physical destination, and outside of the city, we're developing our mountain, the Aqaba Gulf, parts of the Red Sea, which will be true destinations, some of our islands. So a city that'll also be a great destination. And I think because we have so many sectors and industries that we're growing and developing, we become a better destination because we won't be totally reliant on leisure. We'll have a very strong set of corporate traffic, business events. We're building sports stadia, so we'll have sporting tourism, events tourism, obviously visiting friends and relatives who want to come and see this great place. So it's an incredible vision, and it's much more than just tourism. I'm one of 14 really important sectors.
When you hear that, right, there may be at times a little bit of respect of the sheer magnitude of what will happen. It took me the better of these 4-6 months on the ground to actually start seeing that they are happening. You have one privilege, perhaps, that you get to develop a post-pandemic destination or a post-pandemic tourism. Is that going to, or is what you're going to do now different from what you would have done 18 months ago?
It's a great question. Listening to Oliver in particular, and Armour about redefining experiential travel, we have seen it. I think Dubai has done a great job. Greece, the Maldives, number one, safety, security, give me surety about I can get in, I can get out. So we know that stuff. That's table stakes. That's basis. But I do think people are looking for more personal experiences, and I think we can build those from the ground up. So you're right, we're building hopefully, inshallah, a post-pandemic world. So what we are building and developing. Look, it's very hard to describe, but NEOM will be, the Crown Prince, when he announced the line, also said that we will not develop 95% of that 26,500 square kilometres, that we will not just preserve it, we will enhance it. And I think if you heard that last panel, people are looking for that very natural experience. They're looking for space. They're looking for wellness. I think we're also going to be a technologically advanced destination. I think that the travel industry has been a bit slow to embrace technology. In most sectors, tech has made things easier and better, but I'd argue that travelling's probably become harder. So if we can use technology to take the pain points out, to make travel more seamless, to give people back time, which they're craving, to spend more of that time with their friends and loved ones, that's something that we can achieve. But the other element of technology is, can we bring some tech wonderment? NEOM, for example, it's agreed in both the Quran and the Bible that Moses, peace be unto him, lived in this land for 10 years. Could we bring him back in some form of hologram that he can tell his own story? Can we bring back the extinct animals of Saudi Arabia through a sound and light show on the rocky outcrops of the Hizma Desert? This is where technology, I think, could really excite people. So we're building a new destination with certainly the pandemic in mind, but really with the customer in mind. How do we create the world's best experiences, the world's most sustainable destination? How do we make it a net positive destination in terms of sustainability?
Comparing it to some of the other giga projects which have much more heavier focus on tourism, whereas as you said, you're developing tourism as one of 14, I think you said,
Yep.
sectors, and you are going to be the tourism sector of a city. Does one develop a different type of tourism if one develops it primarily for its own citizens of 2 million, or is it the same with an additional segment?
I think Amma said it very well about community, and I think we're going to have a local community of 2 million plus people living there at some point, 1 to 2 million people. In most destinations, tourists want to go where locals love. And I think that building of a community will make us a great destination because we'll have life, footfall, activity, we'll have great food and beverage outlets, great wondrous natural destinations that the locals love. And when locals love a place, don't we all love it when we go to a place and we feel like we're not being treated like a tourist, we're actually immersed in the local culture, and that's something that I think we need to hang on to. There's the other big thing that I think Saudi can own is that word Arabia. I think it's an exotic word. It's a word that conjures great things in people's imagination. And I do think that we should be looking to develop an Arabian service culture. As an outsider coming in, beautiful, gentle people that welcome you as a guest in their home, quite literally. And I think if we can embrace that, and that's the big challenge, I think, in Saudi and across the Middle East, how do we get this service culture to a new level? And can we bottle that and create an Arabian service culture? So I think these are things that a big local community can help us with. These are things that we can perhaps differentiate from just being a tourism destination.
That's a topic that we've discussed often in the past few months. I think we have full trust, and there's plenty of evidence that the kingdom can build fantastic assets. But we are all a little bit intimidated by the number of talent that we're going to have to develop over the next 2, 5, 10 years in order to actually create these experiences that you just described, this Arabian service, this authentic local engagement of experiences between visitors and the local community. How are you doing this? How are you getting ready for what I believe to be between 55 and 100,000 tourism and hospitality workers that we want to engage over the next 6, 7 years?
The first challenge is getting the construction workers. There's probably 2,000 or 3,000. They're now levelling land and getting things going. There'll be up to 30,000, 100,000 construction workers over the next 8 years working on NEOM, perhaps like Dubai in the mid-2000s when a lot of cranes were here. So that'll be happening. But on the service side, we're not resting on our laurels. We're probably taking it into our own hands a bit. So there's a number of examples, some local community examples. We're training locals as guides, as rangers. There's a few who work in my team from the Tabuk province, and they're great. It's been said before, but the energy in Saudi, the young energy, is phenomenal. The guys, and particularly the girls, they're forthright, straightforward, incredibly well educated, and excited about their prospects. So again, if we can garner that energy, it's great. We ran a thing called the GROW program where we're taking in young graduates to put them through various parts of our business. We had 16,000 applications and we could only award 63 of those students. And again, that's a good example. We're setting up a NEOM Academy which will train people in the tourism and hospitality sector in the thousands. Some of the best and brightest we're sending to the 17 best universities and colleges in culinary tourism events around the world, and we want them to come back and be executive managers in our teams. So there's a lot of work to do, but I think that in my experience, young Saudis are looking at the event sector, the tourism sector much more positively than I think we give them credit for. And if we can make it a career path, if we can train and educate, and people like me can leave a legacy which is pass on anything I know, I think they'll exceed us, well and truly exceed us.
When we talk about sustainability, we often talk about what visitors will want or expect or demand, right? But perhaps taking a slight different look at this one. So we've spoken about your talent base. We've spoken about the community that you have and that you're going to continue building. What is your duty towards these communities, these stakeholders, to create a sustainable NEOM?
I think there's a duty of care for the world to create sustainable destinations generally. As I said, I'm a guest in a country, I'm a guest in a province. This is their place. There's thousands of years of history and heritage, which, by the way, is incredibly interesting to the visitor and incredibly important to the locals. And we must hang on to that authenticity. I think Haytham Mattar said it today, and I really agree with that. In terms of a sustainable destination, sustainable is an overused word in my view. There's a new catch cry, regenerative tourism, and I think John Pagano at Red Sea speaks very well about it. But we genuinely believe in that. One of the big sectors that we're working on is the energy sector, so green hydrogen. We have fantastic resources in the sun and the wind, and we're going to capture those. What we would like to give people is an Arabic word which I pronounce probably poorly, called tawazun, which means balance. So we want you to have a great, fun, joyful holiday, because that's what we do. But we also want to make sure that you know it's a guilt-free holiday, because we've either offset or, in a better world, regenerated anything you've created. So I think we can start to give people what I'd call a regenerative receipt. We could tell you that, thank you for visiting, and by the way, while you were here, you employed 2 locals. We offset all your carbon emissions. You helped our rewilding program to bring back the ibex and the cheetah and the leopard. These are things that I think make us a very authentic and truthful place. And I think that's the ambition for NEOM. I know it's the ambition for many of the projects in Saudi.
It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. And by the way, Nick could talk more about it. Nick's very across all these giga projects, and I'm probably hogging the limelight, but Nick knows how much momentum there is in the kingdom with regard to this stuff.
No, and what I want you all to know is about NEOM, so that's actually exactly what I would like to do today. And nevertheless, we are at AHIC, Arabian Hotel Investment Conference. Tell me, or tell the audience perhaps, how can people engage with you? Where do they find you? Who would you like to partner? What is too soon? What is too late? As we go into the coffee break, who would you like to meet?
Well, clearly the Crown Prince HRH has given, as Jerry and Zorello said, great resource. So a lot of the early investment we'll probably do ourselves. We want to set standards and quality and covenants, but we're very open to the investment community, and we think there's great opportunity. There's a booth here with NEOM's name on it. We're right opposite Accor. We'd love to see you. We're very engaged with the hotel operators, the big guys, the big 4 or 5, plus the likes of Oliver and Habitas and the smaller up-and-comers. And we're already engaged with you, but we want to talk more. We don't want perhaps a fashion parade. We don't want to go out and give you all an option for various hotels. We'd like to bring all your incredible brands in a bespoke way to the right places in NEOM. We're really interested in the hospitality sector, and we talked about it, there's a real challenge in terms of training and developing the young people to come through. So help with that is what we need as well. And all of you people that want to sell us stuff, all good. Our first assets probably don't come out of the ground to the start of 2023, but we're open. And Mahmoud said it very well this morning. Saudi's open for business, and NEOM wants to engage with investors, hotel operators, hospitality, F&B, because we're building from scratch.
But just to make sure I heard you right, does that mean you only want to talk to the large companies, or you're comfortable also to have niche players present?
Definitely niche players. I mean, the 95% that we're not developing, they're going to be great visitor experiences, and we are a destination that builds itself on its sustainability and its regenerative ability. So off-grid accommodation providers, experiential stuff. I mean, Mark Willis said it well, people don't come just to stay in the room, they want to do stuff. So, what are the experiences that have never been seen before that we can create? How do we bring them to life? So, I guess the world's architects, set designers, Imagineers, creatives are helping us. So, we're open to all ideas.
Phenomenal closing words. Dear audience, what I can just warmly invite you is to go see it. It is still in the very early stage, but there's so much happening on the ground. I had a very wrong or incomplete impression before I spent time on the ground there. It's actually easy to get there now again. You're warmly welcomed there. I always have been, and you will find something that you will either go see or you'll never see it again in your life, and you will enjoy it. So thank you very much for your time today, Andrew. Best of luck. I know it's a very, very tough assignment as much as it is a fascinating one. And again, you will be at the booth, and happy to meet whoever is here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Nick.
Thank you.
Andrew,
Jonathan.
thank you so much. I mean, what a treat for all of us to be hearing about this, to be learning about it, to feel part of it as well, because this is just an extraordinary development, and you're bringing in world-class individuals, ideas from around the world to create NEOM, and what an extraordinary project it is. And thank you so much for being part of AHIC.